I can honestly say I didn't expect a gay religious nut to be the bad guy in this movie. I watched Maria's Tale, a found footage movie found for free on Tubi, and Maria's Tale is a movie about a girl named Maria. It's done from the perspective of documentarians who are covering what happened to Maria and her crew when they were filming her YouTube show. I believe it was called... well, I don't remember what it was called. Oh, Old New Explorations, that's what it's called. Her show often would end up in abandoned places, looking for ghosts or spooky things. Apparently sometimes they would do things like go to amusement parks. I don't know exactly what the focus of her channel was. They say it was abandoned places, but then they talk about them not going to abandoned places, so who knows. It doesn't really matter. So Maria, Mario, and Jake. Maria and Mario are a couple, and Jake is their friend. And so they're going on an adventure to find an old abandoned asylum in the middle of the forest. This is a good time to say that the main character, Maria, cannot act. None of them are very good, but Maria is particularly bad, which is interesting, because she's the focal point of the film. It caught me off guard that she wouldn't be a good actress. So the found footage aspect comes when we begin to watch their last pieces of footage from their last episode, where on their way to the abandoned asylum, they keep wandering until it's nightfall, which is really stupid to begin with, but then they knock on someone's house, and this guy who is dressed as a woman pops up, and he invites them in and feeds them dinner, and they're really, really happy to just accept dinner from a stranger in the middle of the night, in the middle of the woods. But they do. One of the guys goes out for some B-roll of the place they're at of the house and gets knocked over and loses his keys by some weird dude in a mask, which apparently just happens around these parts, and they accept that pretty well too. And since they can't leave, since they don't have the keys to the car anyway, the guy offers them to stay at his house. And it's very clear from the beginning that he's very much a religious nut. He's probably off his rocker. But the next morning you see more of that, as he makes them muffins and acts really weird and talks about how their friend already left. He's missing now. We saw that when he went to go take B-roll, he ran into a guy in the woods who threw a knife at him and trapped him in a basement. So the guy turns out to be the husband of the cross-dresser, George. He calls George Georgina, but George calls himself George. And they end up capturing all three of the teens to sacrifice in a Christmas spirit ritual. Not joking, this character has this weird obsession with Christmas, and so they call to the Christmas spirit to save George's life by killing Mario and Jake, and then eventually killing Maria after apologizing to her and all of that. And then we find out, I didn't tell you I was going to spoil everything, I'm so sorry. We find out that George has cancer, which is why he did the Christmas spirit ritual, but then that didn't work, and George died, and so George's husband, who turns out to not actually be his husband at all, they were never married, ends up killing himself, and then they find the tapes. And then the movie ends with more testimonials from Maria's friends, and it goes on for another 10 minutes, and dude, I don't know, there's a reason that I spoiled this movie for you. I give it a 0.5 out of 5. I really don't think it was very good at all. Sound effects, when they happened, when they stabbed people, sounded just terrible. Everything about this was not a good movie. I would definitely not recommend it. I would avoid it if you could. This is one of the stinkers out there. It has an interesting poster though. I gotta say, the poster is what made me click on it, and doesn't really have much to do with the movie. So I don't know.